we are very quickly heading to a place where most information, the majority of information in the digital ecosystem is going to be generated by AI. So what happens when, and it's astounding to pause on that. Within a few years of generative AI being deployed on society, there will be more AI-created content than has been created by humans in all of human history. Within a matter of a few years, which is remarkable. And what happens when the majority of content we see and we live in is created by an AI? I don't think we know. I don't love that proposition. And I think there's something about detaching humans from information that is shared in a democratic society, produced and shared and interpreted in a democratic society. That's going to change our democracy in a real way. I don't think we know how yet. It's also going to change the character of the models themselves. All of a sudden, models are going to be trained not just, these AI models are going to be trained not just on content created by humans and trying to build on that to generate something. They're going to be trained on a majority of content that's already been designed, that's already been produced by AIs. And again is going to be a step change in, I think, the character of our public discourse. We desperately are going to need signals of reliability. When that supply-side challenge of AI really comes to fruition, where we have no way of telling the provenance of a video or a piece of text or an image, what does that mean for a democratic society? If every time we open our feeds, the vast majority of what we see is just created by AI, and we don't know if it's real or not. And there's a problem there. And in some ways, it's a journalistic problem. This is what journalism has always done, right? Is looked out at the world and interpreted reality with some sort of process embedded in that, and then communicated that to publics. But what's that act going to look like in a world mediated by AI? And I think that's a problem we have to solve pretty quickly. I think we need to get our house in order before we worry too much about the next thing. And that means making sure social media platforms are as safe as they can be and operating with our best interests in mind rather than those of large multinational companies, right? So as a baseline, I think, yes, we need to figure out, so we still all live in social media worlds. Our politics are in many ways happening inside these ecosystems, and we live in them in really meaningful ways. So we have to make them safer and serving our better economic and political and social interests. The question then, though, is if these very same companies are betting their futures on a new technology, how do we want to enter into that dialogue with them? So we now know that Meta and Google and Microsoft, and these are well-known entities now, they've been around for a while, are now building a new thing. And that new thing could have profound impact on our societies. We don't know it will for sure, but when the biggest companies in human history are betting tens or hundreds of billions of dollars on a new thing, we should probably pay attention to that, it seems to me, and take it seriously. But what have we learned from engaging with these companies for the past 15 years that we should take away when we enter into this new thing? And I think one is that assurances that they are building things in the public interest should not be taken at face value. And that's not sort of to incriminate them or to render judgment. So if we are going to normalize ourselves to a world where a majority of content is created by AI, it would be really nice to know what is created by humans. And the Online Harms Act actually in Canada has a provision in it that forces companies to identify AI-generated content. And some of them are signing on to doing this in some way. We don't fully know because it's sort of a self-regulatory action. But if governments force companies to come up with clear flagging mechanisms for everything that's created by AI versus what's created by humans, then we might have a chance, I think, of holding on to the sort of human creative side of our public sphere, which I think is the thing that we have to be fighting for right now. the most powerfully.